Talk about it in Brian Holland.
What's going
Brian.
on, guys? How are y'all?
How's it going, man? How's it going?
It's busy. It is busy, and it's different. I mean, we're going to talk about Vanderbilt, but
Absolutely.
it does feel different this time around.
That's what I was going to start with, is the fact that we did this a couple of weeks ago with Alabama. And we brought on Scott Griffin. We were like, hey, get ready for this big matchup against Vanderbilt. It's like, when is the last time of these words left our mouths? And once again, we're right here at it with you as well. As you take a look at what LSU is going into this football game, let's rewind for just a half second about where they are offensively. They got the win. They're still a top 10 team. On paper, if you just look at LSU's resume, it looks like, okay, well, this team looks good, looks like firmly seated in the playoffs. If there are growing concerns about this squad as they head into another pivotal matchup?
Well, you start doing the math, and how many wins do you need to get into the college football playoff?
Mm-hmm.
I would think, and I said this, I think on your show to start the season, I think there's going to be a couple 9-3 teams because we've talked about the parity this week, and
Right.
Brian Kelly said, they did like a study of, what it was like, 5 to 10 years ago in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
The average margin of victory, I can't believe he said this, but I guess I can't believe the number, was 17 points, okay?
Wow.
It is now the last season and a half, I should say, it's 10 points. So there's a lot more parity.
Yeah.
That's why I think there's going to be some 9-3 teams that get in. But you already have a loss as LSU.
Yeah.
So if you count up, hey, you're going to T-Town here in a few weeks, so probably a loss.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, guess what? That means you probably have to win at least one of these two on the road at Vandy, and then coming home for a primetime game against Texas A&M. They didn't handle Texas A&M very well, and we think Texas A&M is possibly a top 5
Really
team.
good
They
team.
are right now.
Yeah.
What will they be after they go through October? Those have been two different stories for Texas A&M historically as well, and getting into November without some losses. So what does LSU look like? Well, these 2 weeks are really, really pivotal. And, like we've been going over, like you would have never said this about Vanderbilt. Yeah, there it is. You got the bye week right before Bama.
Mm-hmm.
But we would have never said, hey, Vanderbilt is a threat. But in this day and time in college football, if you have a dual threat quarterback who is worth his salt, it is just a completely different looking football game in 2025 than it looked like, probably 15 years ago.
Right. Speaking of quarterbacks, you mentioned there Diego Pavia had got a big win last week over Lenora Sellers. Let's talk about the LSU quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier. Coming into the season, obviously high expectations. Threw for 4,000 yards last year. Obviously not on pace to do that same thing this year. But they are getting wins. However, probably squeaking by. It scored 20 points last week. Where is Garrett Nussmeier as far as where you think he is physically, being able to lead this team, and the projections moving forward?
It's been really interesting because they basically tried to hide an injury from us.
Yeah.
And I think there were some questions coming up. And then, Brian Kelly, as we've talked about before on this show, your co-host doesn't exactly like this, but he seems to be honest, or have these honest moments all of a sudden with the media that says, oh, well, it's been a core injury. It's been going on for a few weeks. You go back and look at the tape and you just go like, this is not the same Nussmeier. Like this is correct.
Yep.
And Nussmeier didn't really want to talk about it. Led to some uncomfortable moments, and especially out on the field, you just go, man, this doesn't look like the Nuss that we've seen for years now.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been interesting. You look at the South Carolina game, and I was on the sidelines, and the zip was back on the ball, boys.
Yeah.
Like it looked nice.
Yeah.
And so you wonder, obviously that bye week helped, but now I think they're going to obviously bring him back as they can. So it's been two different mindsets for Nuss. It's been protect the football and don't try to zip it in there because I don't have it right now. To now, he feels like he has it. You saw one of those interceptions on the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I don't even need to read this safety. I can zip it in.
Yeah.
And we always talk about defensive backs. Hey, that's why they don't play wide receiver, because they drop those passes. This was an amazing catch, so give him credit. I don't expect to see Nussmeier. Now he has to marry the two, right? Protecting the football, making good decisions. He didn't like the gunslinger, moniker early in his career here at LSU. He thought maybe he had given up some of those bad mental decisions.
Right.
But now he's got the arm back, and he feels like, nah, let me do it. So it's going to be interesting to see him these next 2 weeks as well. But I can tell you right now, he looks healthy.
Going on the road to Vanderbilt, and it always seems interesting to me when you go. Everybody talks about going down there, going down to Death Valley, and just how much they have to change their mindset, their mentality. They change their practices during the week. Going to Vanderbilt under the current circumstances, usually it's like, hey, Nick Saban used to say that's the easiest place to win, and now it seems like you're going to a place that really has hope. What do you feel like this team will take with them mentally as they go to a place that is traditionally easy to win, but in 2024 and 2025 is not?
And it's so wild too, by the way, to see, not in Nashville, I should say. Every time I've been to Nashville in the last 15 years, there's cranes everywhere. Like 50, 60 crane. Like, it is a city that's been building up. Well, Vanderbilt, the last few seasons, they've been literally building up that stadium as well. So you just kind of feel that momentum even before Pavia was Pavia. Clark Lee is an excellent head coach, and he knows how to hire, and he's got great recruiting department there with Barton Simmons. So then they get the right quarterback there, and, sky is the limit. But, I was there in 2019, and there were more LSU fans in the stadium than Vanderbilt fans. And so I don't expect that to completely be the case this time around. I think that'll be interesting to watch as well. But I can tell you that in 2019, they had to get another beer truck to the stadium because LSU fans had drank that side of the stadium out of the 3 major beers. And that is actually a true story. I saw them loading beer into the stadium from the paddock up there.
Well, I can't put it past them because they're the kings of the Jello shots in Omaha.
In Omaha, yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me at all. One thing that did surprise me, Trey'Dez Green had quite a game for the Tigers. What did you make of his performance?
They've had to be careful with him. So he grew up probably about 40 minutes down the road from here, and then transferred to a bigger program that was a little bit closer. So we've known him for a while and what he can do. I mean, he went from 2A competition to 5A competition. We go, all right, so is this kid for real? He was for real.
Yeah.
So then he goes to LSU, wants to play 2 sports. I don't know if you guys remember the game at Alabama. It was about a year ago, and he just went off. And he didn't even know what he was doing. Like, it was just like they tried to bring him after football season. So now he's given up basketball. He's gotten a lot more serious about, hey, my future is in football for sure. Like, there are a lot of 6'8" guys running around in the NBA.
I know.
Ain't a lot of 6'8" guys running around in the NFL, even at wide receiver and tight end. So it's going to be interesting. I think he's like 6'7.5". I'm going to give him the extra inch.
Absolutely.
Or extra half inch, I
Yeah,
should
the
say.
program height.
Sure. So it's been fun to see him develop, but he still is a young pup just because of that experience, him having to play, kind of do double duty. And so, with these tight ends, especially the receiving tight ends, it's how can we get them to be serviceable on blocking so that you're not predictable with your packages and your formations.
Right.
So
exactly.
I think that has slowly come along. It's not where they want it, but you get in the red zone, like, he is just just put him out there on an island. And if they don't put 2 people out there, then you've got all the numbers inside the box or on the outside to get Barry and Brown, or sounds like they're going to get Aaron Anderson back this week. So plenty of weapons at their disposal.
No question about it. We got a chance to hear from Brian Kelly about his latest weapon, going from the hardwood to the gridiron.
It should be a regular occurrence. And I don't want to set him up for failure at all, because you still got to protect, you still got to run it, you still got to throw it, you still got to catch it. But he will be featured in the offense accordingly. And now, what does that do? Is it maybe cause more attention to him? If it does, then other people will be open that are really dynamic within this offense. We've got to get Barry and Brown going. We've got to find him more. He's a dynamic player. We just threw a spot route to him, and he got 7 yards after the catch. So he's a guy that we got to feature. You got Xavion that's got to get involved. Aaron Anderson's coming back. Kyle Parker's not too bad. So you can imagine, what we're trying to do here offensively is, we want to get all these pieces into the game. And if one guy gets more attention than the other, Maybe he doesn't get 9 catches, but maybe somebody else opens up the field for him, and that's what a dynamic tight end does for you.
Brian, I talked on the show yesterday about a guy like Trey'Dez Green. Ironically enough, in basketball, you need a guy that can just go get you a bucket. Down in the red zone. In football, you need a guy that can just go get you a touchdown. Well, there's another guy that basically Trey'Dez is following after, Jimmy Graham, just up the road, long time for the Saints. So, I mean, do you really expect that Green can, be a big part of this offense moving forward? I know you mentioned they might be getting Aaron Anderson back, but, when they're inside the 5 and Nussmeier just needs a guy to go to, do you think he can be that guy?
Absolutely. And, I think he pretty much proved. I knew it from just seeing him in practice. They've really opened up practice before the season gets starting there in training camp. And he's just an absolute mismatch. Like, there's just no two ways about it. Like, you look over there and it's 6'7.5" against, who are you going to put out there? A 5'11" guy? A tall corner is 6'1". Like, it's a cheat code, and they've known about it. He hasn't been healthy, though, too.
Right.
So he sat out a couple of those games. So I think you're going to see actually, you know what? I don't know what you're going to see from defensive coordinators because they have to figure this out. I think it could come down to seeing 2 guys literally just out there, and they just go, hey, look, we don't think you're the same LSU offensive line of the Les Miles era. Good luck to you. We think we can stuff you with one less guy.
Right, absolutely. One quick thing before we let you go. The LSU defense is playing lights out. How do you think they handle Diego Pavia, Eli Stowers, and that matchup is really intriguing to me.
It really is. That's going to decide the game is if they can get a stop late in the game in Nashville. And 2, not get behind early because these early games, you guys know, 11 a.m., Vanderbilt, how many people are there? Have the Bloody Marys hit yet? As Brian Kelly was talking about Bloody Marys in his press conference. So it's going to be interesting. You can't get off to a slow start, even for defense. No, we like to talk about offenses getting off to fast starts. No, it's got to be for your defense too. They got to wake up. Yeah. And I keep getting that question asked, why is Diego Pavia, why are they favored, for the first time in 51, 52 SEC games? It's he's one of the cheat codes too. Yep. If you're a dual threat guy, and they've done a great job of building around him, the formations and the actions and all the plays that go with his skill set. They built it for him. So something else to keep in mind too is LSU's defense actually performed well against him last year, but he was hurt. Right. He was hobbled. He was not the same Diego Pavia. So it's going to be a different Diego Pavia this time around. And I think he's a bad matchup for a team that maybe isn't built right. Right. LSU, we've talked about the defensive backs. They're so good. They've been really, really good. Yeah. They can come up and help as well. But I think the cheat code for LSU is having just 2 absolute dogs at linebacker who can keep up with him as well. Harold Perkins Jr. and then Whit Weeks. You'll also see West Weeks out there. Maybe the freshman, the 3rd Weeks brother, Zach Weeks, might even sub in as well. So they had the speed that I think can actually match up against the Doors. Absolutely. 2 of the most kind of famous people in college football right now. One of the Weeks brothers and Diego Pavia matching up against one another. Brian Holland, I know you're very, very busy. Thank you so much for your time here on our show. Had fun, guys.